Points regarding Eric and Tex's comments. If regarding Eric's comment, he would rather have a prime Chris Paul over a prime Russell Westbrook. In the Rockets offense, I would 100% agree. I'd rather have a prime Chris Paul over a prime Russell Westbrook. In terms of which player is better, I think prime Russell Westbrook is better than prime Chris Paul. As overall player, as a point guard, as a distributor, even though Chris Paul's he's probably averaged 10 assists per game maybe 1 year. I mean, Russell's literally probably averaged more assists per game in his prime for sure than Chris Paul had. But the way Chris Paul plays the point guard position, I feel like is more traditional and more helpful to most teams. So I'd pick him for my team, but in terms of overall talent, I would say Westbrook. And then Tex, I pose this question to Tex. You're still here. What team would you consider it not to be a panic move acquiring Russell Westbrook? In what fantasy land do you live where acquiring a superstar, former MVP that just came off 2 straight years, I believe, of averaging a triple-double, in what crazy land is this a panic move? Because last I checked, trading an old point guard with a terrible deal for a healthier, newer,
but all the picks
better
you gave
point guard.
You got to throw in the picks because you got to put in the picks because you're
that's like
taking away your future with that.
This is how I would kind of categorize it as. It's like it's like you are Boston when they had Al Horford, and you're trading Al Horford for Anthony Davis. You're trading an older, more injury-prone, worse player for a better, younger, potential MVP candidate. And I would see no one complaining if Boston packaged 2 number 1 picks and 2 pick swaps and him for Anthony Davis. Nobody would complain, but for some reason, because it's the Rockets and because we've been close to winning, any trade that we make is a panic move all of a sudden. It's not like we took all of our young talent and shipped it. If we would have traded Capella and Gordon and Tucker for Russell Westbrook, I would have said that's a panic move and I wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah.
But the fact that we traded Chris Paul and a couple picks, that's not a panic move. That's a move to make the team better now and for the long term. We're going to be better for the next 2 or 3 years compared to if we had Chris Paul.
I'm going to agree with both of y'all there. Like, I don't necessarily they think it was just absolute panic because it fell into their lap. The Paul George trade happening is the only thing that made Westbrook available. But I kind of tend to agree with them seeing what all the other teams are doing. And the West is stacked as it is. They had to do something, but it is a little bit why I maybe tend to agree a little bit more with the panic side is how you just completely mortgaged your future off of a championship now. Because if y'all don't win a if y'all don't win a championship with this team, it is going to go down as a terrible trade because of all of what y'all gave up.
I mean, that's the same with any. That's the same with any move that. There's 30 teams in the NBA. 29 out of 30 teams in the NBA.
You don't see trades like this. We've seen 2 trades like this, and I guess 3 now in one offseason. You don't see trades like this very often. Very often do we see a trade for a player that's so good that we're going to trade every draft pick we have for the next 5 years and all that. We've seen it 3 times now with AD, Paul George, and Westbrook. You don't see that
2 picks.
often.
We traded 2 picks.
Y'all traded more than that.
Mm-mm.
No,
we traded 2 picks and we swapped 2. The 2 that we swapped, if the 2 that we swapped are the later ones, which I believe they are, we might not even have a better record than Oklahoma City. Who knows?
I don't know. Okay, I'll give you that then. But I agree with both of you there. I do think it was a little bit of a panic move, but it can't necessarily be fully panic move because it did kind of just fall into their lap. It's not like they were calling up, we have to have Westbrook, whatever it takes. It kind of fell into their lap. The Oklahoma got to a point they're going to have to trade Westbrook because, it's, to be fair to him, he doesn't deserve to be on a rebuilding team at this point of his career. So,
I'm kidding. I actually have no idea how many. I think it was 2 first-round picks and then 2 pick swaps. I could be off.
Yeah.
Because again, Like, has this trade even happened 100% yet? Like, I'm not even sure if half of these trades have
You can
actually
bring it
occurred
to me.
until they show up with the jersey because you never know what things can pop up. I mean, things popped up when
That's
Chris Paul was trying to go to the Lakers.
well, and I was just Googling it, and usually when you Google a trade or something, like one of the first things that pops up is the NBA.com story on it. There is no NBA.com story completely on it yet because I don't think it's 100% official.
Hmm.
Because maybe there's physicals that haven't been done yet. What if Chris Paul doesn't completely pass a physical in Oklahoma? And they're like, no.
Please don't put that evil on us.
Well,
Please don't put that evil on us. I'll be so mortified.
I guess it is. Well, I did see he did give him a fond farewell, saying he meant more to this franchise than. Well, we know it's a confirmed deal. Not saying it's not confirmed, but there has to be physicals. The NBA has to sign off on it. The commissioner's office, like he was saying, the Chris Paul trade. Who they were going? He was going getting traded to the Lakers, and the NBA
Yeah,
said no.
dude, that would have been nice. A
Yeah,
prime Chris Paul and a not a little slightly out of his prime Kobe Bryant. That would have been
yeah.
nasty. And I think that was when they didn't have Dwight. Sega or Tex, could y'all please check, or could one of you please check and see what picks the Rockets traded?
Yeah.
If it was two firsts and then two pick swaps, or if it was something else, because that's what I think it is. But if it was four picks, if it was four first round picks, then you're kind of on the like what the Lakers did, trading for Anthony Davis. That, in my mind, is a panic move because you literally took your whole entire team. I'm not a panic move. Let me rephrase that. That, in my mind, is more of a leap. Okay, Lon reported deal that the
Well, you
Rockets
were
are
right then, I
acquiring
guess.
Russell Westbrook in exchange for Chris Paul, two future first round picks in 2024 and 2026. Okay, so that is a good trade or good value for Oklahoma City because 2024, 2026, I don't know. I don't think Harden or Westbrook are even going to be on the books. So our pick
No,
could be
probably not. Yeah.
trash. And that would give them potentially two top, for sure, probably top 15 picks. And then that
Well, a
those
lot of
swaps might be really
yeah,
good too. So I mean, it's
yeah,
good for Oklahoma City, but I still think it's an appropriate haul for a guy who's a MVP and averages triple
yeah,
double.
yeah.
Same with Anthony
Well,
Davis. I mean, Anthony Davis is probably the best big man in the league. It's an appropriate haul, but geez, they got rid of Lonzo, they got rid of Ingram, they got rid of so many
that one was a little
picks.
more drastic because they not only gave away the picks, they also gave away players too. Insane. Like not Chris Paul at the end of their run players, good players, young players. What I was gonna say is there's a bunch of analysts that I've been reading that say even if the Rockets win a title with Westbrook and Harden, they still say Oklahoma won the trade because of the draft stock, what it's going to do to set them up for years to come, and also what they got for, from the Clippers too.
I mean, Oklahoma City had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Serge Ibaka, Victor Oladipo. They've had all this talent. Carmelo Anthony when he was still pretty good, not great. Paul George. They've had all this talent and they haven't won one yet. So there's nothing there that leads me to believe that they've already won the trade. It's really just going to be a time will tell thing. Are the Rockets going to win a champion? There's zero. I am almost 100% certain that Oklahoma City is not going to win two or more championships using primarily players obtained from this trade.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
So
yeah.
saying that they're still probably gonna win even if the Rockets win a championship is just completely asinine. Like I could see if the
Well,
Rockets don't win a championship and Oklahoma City ends up being really good, then it makes sense. But you're telling me that you think that out of those four picks, there's gonna be some magical talent that's gonna
maybe.
they're gonna win two. If they somehow win two titles, then yeah, it'll be better than the Rockets winning one. But I don't see that happening. Maybe we'll look back on this in 2026 when we're broadcasting from our studio, and you can be like,
Studio.
"Hey, legs,
Yeah.
guess what? Oklahoma City's won the past three titles."
And
Like,
then when we get into when we get into a Mavericks versus Rockets argument, we literally have to have security guards like those UFC fights that get real heated. We have to have
hold it
security
back.
guards standing there because we're gonna be getting
Oh
too
man,
heated.
We'll see,
Oh,
Tex. I don't think they did. I think you're just being a Mavs homer. I think
well, I
there's
just
no possible way you can tell me that trading an aging point guard for a guy that averages a triple double and has been a league
they're not gonna
MVP
they're
and
not
two
keep.
picks is not
I know
a good
there's
trade.
reports that they might keep him, but that I think that's if they can't get rid of him. They're not gonna keep Paul. What do they
But
need Paul for?
in what? Okay, so Tex, what do you think would have been a good trade for the Rockets to do to get Russell Westbrook? What would have made the Rockets win that? What if we just traded like
I'm
Eric
just
Gordon for him?
the reason why I'm thinking this is because the Rockets really have like a two. Y'all have like a 2 year window now. I don't
Yeah,
think the Harden and Westbrook can really outside of 2 more years. Y'all have a 2 year window to get it done. The Heat, I mean the Thunder have all those picks and all that are going to set them up. I think the likelihood of it going, it's a better trade for Oklahoma. Is it's higher odds because y'all have a really small window, in my opinion, to win a title with that group.
y'all are forgetting how good Russell Westbrook is.
By
People are
himself.
forgetting.
By
And
himself.
he's
Good.
gonna have one of his
Can
best friends on the team, and they
how
can
many
both pass the
times
ball and both drive,
how
and
many
one of them can
times in
shoot.
the
One of them can shoot.
how many times in the NBA lags have we seen two top level players this should work. Oh my god, this should work. But it doesn't work cuz it's more than talent. It takes more than talent to win the
They've
championship.
played together
It takes
before. They're friends.
that was back when Harden was a six man, and that
So
was back before Westbrook is dominating like it is now. They're different players now. What
they're
makes you
older. They're
what?
wiser. They'll be able to play off of each
How
other
many
better.
times in the NBA have we seen that lag? So
And how
that
many
we've
times have we
seen that
seen it succeed?
I feel like we've seen it not succeed
Well,
way more than we
of course, we've
have.
seen it not succeed more than we have because a lot of these teams have just
So
been
then, if
built through
you're
the
agreeing
draft.
with me, then you disagreed with me. Then why are you sitting here as a Rockets fan pretending like it's a foregone conclusion that that's going to work?
I'm not thinking it's a foregone conclusion. I think that there's a very, very good chance that it's going to work well. Because when's the last time you've seen two MVP candidates, a guy that averages a triple double, a guy that averages 36 points per game, who have both played together before, who have both known each other since like elementary school
They
or
were
whatever,
different players
come
back when they
together?
played
But
together.
show me an example of that ever happening. That's never happened in league history.
Okay, if
It's
you
never
want to
happened in
get
league
down to just
history.
complete details, okay, maybe that's never happened. But high level players been brought together before. When the Lakers got Dwight Howard, everybody's like,
Dwight
"This is
Howard's
oh
never been
my."
the MVP. Give me
I
two
didn't.
MVPs.
I'm not
Two
talking.
MVPs coming
I
together.
just. If you listen to me, maybe you should wear a headset so you can
Go
hear me
on.
better.
Go on.
I started my sentence off by saying maybe if you're going to get that detailed, it's never happened before.
That's not super detailed. Just two MVPs. That's not very
I can't
detailed.
think of one off the top of my head, but that also too doesn't mean just because they're both MVPs that they can do it. I just don't. I don't think it's a foregone
It
conclusion.
doesn't, but we're comparing a pairing of inferior guys to two guys that have won MVPs and clearly superior talents. I think it'll work. I think you guys are going to be coming back to me later this year saying, "Shit, the Rockets are on pace to win 60 games." Boy, Lags was right. I guess it wasn't just his red
No, here you can have some.
red glasses clouding his vision and his fandom clouding his vision. Turns out he
Yeah.
knew what he was talking about.
No, I ain't worried about. Now that I'm thinking about it, I ain't worried about it at all. 0% chance they win a
And
championship.
I'm not worried about the Mavericks of 2020, 2025. I don't give a crap about the Mavericks right now.
Well, you're gonna care.
Y'all try to stay
then
healthy. Y'all try to stay
The only
healthy.
reason you say that now is because y'all have that window open.
Yeah, this is
When
our
that
time.
window shuts hard.
I ain't
in
worried about that.
2 years from now, and the
I ain't worried about
Mavericks are set up for success, you're gonna be super salty
I
that
don't
you
care.
didn't win a title.
I'll be saying good for the Mavericks. See, unlike you guys who just like to crap on Houston for not winning, I'm not going to crap on Dallas when they don't win a title. I'm going to say I'm sorry they didn't win. Maybe next year.
He gone. I was,
choke artist.
I started this episode off high hopes, thinking I'm going to kind of agree with Lags. I'm not going to give but now I'm going to sit here and say right now, M-Dub guarantee Rockets do not win a championship next year or the year after.
Okay.
0% chance.
All right.
It's done.
So
It's a wrap.
congratulations, a 1 out of 30 chance 2 years in a row that it won't happen for a team. Well, that's such a brave pick. That's such a brave
I'm
pick.
just telling you. I'm just telling
That's
you.
like
There's a,
that's
they
like
will
Tex
not
picking
win.
the Warriors. Such a
But it's
brave
just like,
pick.
but when the Suns don't win the title out of that 1 in 30 teams, no big deal, right? It's the Suns. But when a team that just desperately traded for Westbrook and traded away their whole future with draft picks and have all this money tied up in 2 players, when they don't win a title, that's a big deal.
No, yeah, I think if we don't win a title in the next, I'm still on the train of since the Chris Paul trade. If we don't win a title in the next few years, that initial trade for Chris Paul was the catalyst of a bad move because we traded
Yeah.
away some great role players that are thriving in LA right now. The LA's main players that led them to the playoffs this past year were former Rockets: Patrick Beverly, Lou Williams, and Montrezl Harrell.
It took them leaving the Rockets to flourish.
No, they were still good players before that. Harrell was showing excellent signs.
To
Harrell
completely
was showing
flourish. The only
excellent signs
reason
in his young. No, Lou Williams was playing excellent basketball for the
The
Rockets.
only
Patrick Beverly was
reason
playing excellent basketball
Harden
for
has
the
flourished in
Rockets.
the system is because D'Antoni
No.
plays a non-winning in the playoff system of just put up a bunch of points and get on the cover of ESPN magazine during the regular season and oh my God, you're so good, but when the playoffs come, you ain't there.
No,
You're
the
done.
past
You're
5 Rocket
donezo.
seasons been a disappointment. We've made it to the only team that's stood in our way is literally the most talented team of all time, and you're telling me that's a disappointment? Then
Yes.
Every single Dallas Mavericks season in history except one must have been a
Nope.
huge disappointment for you
The
guys.
one
A
title,
huge
the one
disappointment for
title,
you guys.
the one title wipes all that away. If you're a
Oh, then
team that
our
makes
two
it to the,
titles wipe double away because we
if
won two
you,
titles.
no, I'm talking. Let's talk
Oh,
current
let's talk about
last
the
five
past
years.
10 years. Let's talk about the
You,
past
you
10
can.
years.
He
Oh
made
no.
it. He said the last 5 years. He said it. That's what you're
So you're
responding
saying
to.
every single team that didn't win a championship in the last 5 years have had disappointing,
If
terrible
you're
seasons? No.
if you're no, I'm not going to say like a team like the Suns and the Hawks. They can't say though because they didn't win the title. If
Totally
you're a
different
team
era,
like the
different player.
Rockets that continually make it to the late round in the Western Conference and you can't get past it, it's a disappointment. If y'all somehow win a title, M-Dub guarantee 0% chance. Some alternate universe, y'all win a title next year. All of that's gone. It's not a disappointment anymore. Right now, that has to be a disappointment. Y'all have gotten there year in, year out, year in, year out, year in, year out, and you can't get over the hump. I had that disappointment too. Major disappointment when the Mavericks kept making the playoffs, couldn't get over the hump, couldn't get over that. Them finally doing it that one time erases all of that. It does, and you will see it if it ever happens. Again, M-Dub guarantee, 0% chance. But if it were to happen, yeah, and it was made at the time. I got to a point where I just was resigned to the fact that the Mavericks are going to choke. I just resigned to the fact that the Mavericks are going to choke
But that's the
because
thing.
there was so much disappointment.
You don't resign to it. Like I'm not resigning to it. I'm not going to resign to the Rockets choking, even though we've choked in many a time, just like y'all said in the past 5 years. I'm not going to say it's a disappointment. I think we
So
played
you weren't
incredibly well.
disappointed when they've
Oh
got
yeah,
eliminated
of
from the
course.
playoffs
I'm
this year?
I'm not happy
Then you
every time we. I'm
disagree
not
with
happy.
what Tex said.
I'm not happy every single time. I can be disappointed at something and it not be a disappointment.
Yeah. Do you see how I play him like a fiddle, Tex?
I
You
can
see it?
be
I
disappointed
let
at
him go.
something and it
I
not be
low.
a disappointment.
I let him go on his little tirade for 5 minutes,
Oh,
and then I just
oh
asked
my
him the
god.
point blank question that makes
Oh
his
my
argument not
god.
even valid. I
Oh my
just
god.
said, "Were you not disappointed?" And he said, "Yes, I was." But then he was trying to
That's
over
changing the
10 minutes
question.
act
Being
like he wasn't
disappointed at something
disappointed.
and something being a disappointment are two totally different things.
Oh my!
They're two
What?
totally different things.
We need a federal investigation into Texas A&M. Should that be an accredited college? Because if you're going to sit there and say there's a vast difference between it's a disappointment and I was disappointed, what?
I can be disappointed at something that is not a disappointment. I can just not be happy
It's the
about it.
same
It's
thing.
no,
It's
it's
just
not.
it's a stupid.
Two
What are
different
you
people.
talking
Two
about?
different people can be disappointed. One person can be disappointed in an event, and one person can be ecstatic about an event. That event can still be a disappointment, or it couldn't be a disappointment.
I'm going to make a trip down to Houston. I don't want to because I don't like Houston. And I'm sorry, Tex, I have to say this because I know you like Houston. I don't like Houston, all right? But I'm going to make a trip down there, and I'm going to poll all the Rockets fans, and I guarantee I'm going to get a massive,
Well,
massive
not
landslide of
yeah,
they considered the
yeah.
last 5
Okay.
seasons as a disappointment.
Not everyone has a positive attitude like me. I'm not going to give up on my team
You
like you
don't have a
did.
positive
I'm not going to give up
attitude.
on my team and
When
say they're not clutch. Just like Dirk, everyone gave up on him. Well, guess what? Turns out he's pretty clutch. Surprise, surprise, motherfuckers. He's pretty clutch.
that's the way it happened. That hindsight 2020 won a title. Can the Rockets do it again? MW guaranteed.
Yes.
They don't.
No, we're going to.
They don't.
Who's going to stop
No.
us?
The Clippers, the
Nope.
Lakers,
Nope.
the Warriors.
Nope.
I still don't think y'all get past the
No,
Warriors are so
no.
far.
No,
The
don't go
Warriors
down
are
that
so
road.
far in y'all's head
Don't
that
go
just
down that road.
just the Warriors mystique alone beats y'all.
Don't go
Y'all
down
ain't
that
getting
road.
past the Clippers. I'm sorry. You ain't.
The only team that poses a threat to us is the Lakers. Clippers, no. Who? Okay, I've heard people say that the Clippers are the best team in the league because they got Kawhi and Paul George. Well, let's see. Let's see Kawhi and Paul George play well together. First of all, they both play small forward. So which one of those guys is going to play shooting? Maybe they're going to put. Are they going to put Paul George at shooting guard? Are they going to put Paul George at power forward?
One thing I'll say about Kawhi is he's shown in his career, unlike Westbrook and a Harden, that he can be around a big cast of characters and win. Harden, they've never shown that.
Okay. Oh, yeah. 2 players out of so many that haven't won a title, and we're comparing a guy that's won 2 titles before. Congratulations. That's such a brave assessment.
I mean, I'm just saying, because you just said we're not sure if the Kawhi and Paul George meeting. Kawhi has shown in the past that he can.
Oh, because he won a title with 2 different teams or 2 different casts of characters. He can all of a sudden play well with everybody.
That he can gel with other top tier players. So I think there's a higher chance of that duo working out than Westbrook and Harden.
Yeah,
because
but
Kawhi has shown that he can gel with other top tier players.
We'll see how they all gel together. They're not talented enough to win.
Are you kidding? Just the defensive alone, they will Harden will literally flop his way out of that series.
Oh, Harden's gonna flop his way to the free throw line because he's gonna get fouled all the time.
No, because they play good defense in the current NBA.
No,
they don't.
Patrick Beverly tries to take out Russell Westbrook's leg and try to injure him.
They will. No, it's donezo.
He did that with him when he was on the Rockets.
Like I said, an hour and a half ago, I had high hopes that I was just going to, you know what?
Clippers are not.
I'm with Lags a little bit. Okay. The Rockets do look like they have a chance. Now that I've heard you say all this, you've completed me. I'm a 180, 0% chance.
You're telling me that you think the Clippers have a better cast than the Lakers?
Yes. Oh, the Lakers? I don't know about the Lakers, but over the Rockets, yes.
No. Okay. Yeah. The Clippers. We'll see. We'll see how well Paul George and will they play.
We don't know if it's going to work out, but Kawhi has shown a history of being able to gel with other top 10 players. Now, Paul George, we don't know, but he's shown a history of it. We don't know that with Harden and Westbrook. We don't know it. I am a big believer the Warriors aren't done.
Okay, yeah. Let's see who's going to take the clutch shot. Green. Is Green going to be taking the clutch shot? Because ain't going to be Steph. Because Steph ain't clutch.
I'm just saying. We got Lags rattled.
Is Willie Cauley-Stein going to be leading that
We got
Warriors
Lags
team?
rattled right now to the core.
It's 2-on-1, but I'm still making the most valid points on everyone here.
Not even close, because if that was the case, your Houston fans would be coming to your defense.
I have no Houston fans to watch. The
Houston Rockets fans were so disappointed in that you're their representative that they left.
God.
They left.
We'll see. The season will speak volumes. I'm just
kidding, Lags. I love you. Don't be mad.
I love you too. Season will speak volumes. Season.
We'll see.
My buttons aren't pushed. I'm making valid arguments to other valid arguments. I think it's a valid argument to say that potentially Russell Westbrook and James Harden, 2 MVPs, a guy that averaged a triple-double, and a guy that averaged 36 points per game last year, could easily, if playing well together, win an NBA championship. I don't think that's a stretch at all, especially on a team that has been on the cusp of winning and has just traded an older, more saddled point guard for a younger triple-double former MVP. I don't think that's that much of a stretch here, guys.